I'm going in, I'ma make sure you guys make a big page, but when I do big, I mean outrageous. Who you think is dealing with doll face? I only run my kings and queens, you know, cause I'm the ace by the case. That's right, I said I'm going in. While you out running errands, I'm running this game, I'll be in that top spot. Natural born winner, work hard, play harder, come and get it if you wanna, but yo, you better know. I'm going in. I'm going in.
Welcome back, my family, to Beijing and to the LPL for Week 8, day number 1. We are getting closer and closer towards playoffs, and it is funny that we are back in Beijing, of course, at JD's home arena, with JD edging towards playoffs and trying to reach success. Top 8 teams to go through, and JD at the moment are one of them, but they're going up against Vici Gaming. Vici at the moment struggling to get there. Hello and welcome back once again. This is going to be a big day for League of Legends and to secure playoffs, and I can't wait to get started. My name's Shaker Derek Penka, joined by Clement Chu. A different start to a different day, and in Week 8, day number 1, Clement, we've only got 3 weeks left to play.
Ooh, a very tight schedule ahead of us. All of the heavyweight matches are ahead, and this is the final stretch to see who really makes those playoff spots.
And of course, after yesterday, with changes being towards the playoffs too, with TOP, FPX being such a good matchup, and RNG and IG defining themselves as well.
Yeah, Sunday was really the day of 3 kings. Our standings actually changed so much in a single day. 3 different teams actually took that first spot with IG, FPX, and TOP.
I want to see who takes the 8th and 7th spot as well there, Clement. FPX and TOP. Really good matchup. If you didn't see it, go and watch it for yesterday. But of course, it is a Monday, and before we get into today and the standings, how everything's sitting around, it's best of the Rift time. But we've only got a couple of weeks left, so the spots here, they're very peculiar. Let's start with the Shy, who got 5 solo kills. Of course he did, Clement.
There was 2 of them in a single play where he 1v3'd in the top side. The Shy has not lost a single lane since Chinese New Year. This is the best laning player we have in the LPL right now.
Not only is he eclipsing the LPL with his solo plays, but our clips on the back end as well. We just see it's the Shy on Sion, it's the Shy on Vladimir. It happens again. We go forward a little bit because I see 2 BLG members there, Clement, in Meteor and Jinjiao.
Big surprise. Nobody thought BLG would make it so far in the standings, but they're currently at 4th place, and these 2 role players really have shined throughout their entire series. Jinjiao, I think, has been the linchpin. I've been calling him their best player. Individually, this has been his best split. Great carry performances, especially on the likes of the Ezreal.
Let's sit there and appreciate Jinjiao being in the AD carry, best of the Rift. Let's also appreciate LvMao in the support position as well.
Ooh, LvMao had a couple of big games. Everyone was wondering how he would fare when the Rakan was taken out of the meta. He's still found his place on the Galio and especially on the Alistar. 2 triple-man engaged knockups from the Alistar to give his team the win.
Has been pretty good. Alistar in the LPL is fantastic. We went past Xiaohu for a good reason, though. We had to end on such a highlight here. Xiaohu's been playing out of his mind on the Zoe pick, on so much more, and RNG's mid laner is playing one of the best splits in a very long time.
It's not even about just the last week. Ever since he came back from Chinese New Year, he's been the #1 in terms of solo kills, #1 in terms of KDA, #1 in terms of CSD at 15 for the mid lane. So this guy's been absolutely killing it, and we're really going back to the days of 2016 and 2017, where Xiaohu made his debut in Shanghai, 2016 at MSI, and shocked the world. That was a team with Mata and Looper on it, and he actually solo kills FLICKR multiple times.
And you remember him for a lot about his rise as well, and how he's been played out within RNG, facilitating Uzi. This time around, a lot more spotlight on the mid lane. It's good to see him playing something with huge carry threat and with such a high win rate in the LPL on the Zoe.
RNG just need that second win condition, and to be honest, his rise really does coincide with RNG announcing that they have a replacement behind him in Cry. We've seen this a lot of times in LPL.
Will Cry ever play, though? That's the real question.
Yes, we've seen it a lot of times in LPL, but a great way to motivate players is just to put a sub behind him.
It's like putting, hot rocks underneath their feet, or maybe putting a spear in the back as well.
It works. It's a great management strategy. I totally think teams should be doing this more.
However, that's best of the Rift. It's always good to come back to that on Monday, figure out what happened in the last week. It'll also help when we bring up the standings for you now as well, because in the standings, our top 8 getting more defined. Look at the split starting to shift.
Ooh, those were the top 3 we were talking about. 8-win series, the 3 kings of the LPL, IG, TOP, and FBX. And on the bottom side, we have a very, very tight race. Both Suning, Victory 5, and WE still have a very good shot at making it into the playoff runnings, while teams like EDG are actually quite precarious with how difficult their schedule is in the future.
Yeah, that's right. And even though today is going to be a bit distinguished with teams from the bottom and the top of the pack facing off, I want to point towards your attention that IG, TOP, and FBX having those 8 wins, very close to securing, I'd say 9, maybe 10, would be the comfortable position at this point in the game.
We do have to throw out a little bit about the playoff standings. Nothing's truly confirmed, but our 1st and 2nd seed will go into the semifinals, while our 3rd and 4th seeds will get buys into the quarterfinals. So seeding is very, very important, and you have to remember Rift Rivals is also on the line.
That's right.
So you get number 1 and number 2 in Spring Split, you're guaranteed to go.
Remember Rift Rivals last time, it was China's to take, and we took it, baby. So Rift Rivals coming up in 2019. That excites me even more. IG, TOP, FPX, even Billy in very good standings. But talking about definition a little bit more, JDG sitting towards the top of the pack, Vici Gaming towards the bottom as well. EDG and OMG, similar scenario here, Clement.
JD Gaming have really exceeded my expectation. They lost 2 key players, but they're sitting very comfortably in the playoff standings. 6-3 currently so far. I'm really proud of them, but for EDG versus OMG, big day for EDG. If they don't win here, very high chances they do not make playoffs.
That's exactly right. They're coming up later in Chengdu. It's a big matchup for both those teams, but one that maybe not as historic, considering that JDG and Vici, one of the newer organizations, especially JDG in 2017, the end of in December. JDG are exciting right now, Clement. There's one big reason, and the fact that Imp is playing well gets me excited and makes me reminisce a little bit.
Oh, it's been a while since we've seen Ip in his tippy-top form, but this is now. That Vayne game was really demonstrative of how he pioneered the style. When you talk about frontline carries, you think about Imp in 2014. Samsung White, he takes the first LCK championship against the likes of Flame, and he's doing it once more on the Vayne pick. You have to remember, JD Gaming, at the end of the day, is still all about the Dumpling Brothers. They're a very frontline heavy team, but when they get this type of production from their backline as well, that really fills the shoes so well for the missing hole that Loken left.
You know what Dumpling Brothers need, though? They need more stability on the roster, and that's kind of what Loken and Clit had. They had this stability that enabled them to, potentially go towards Worlds, which they missed out by such a marginal, just such a marginal game, and EDG went in their place.
EDG just, blocking them out like always, and the AD carry position is a big point of concern, especially in the LPL. If you don't have a good AD carry that can bring you there, there's not really a chance for you to be in the top 3.
Especially in 9.4 as well, we're putting more focus on AD carries, we're seeing more Vayne. Even in 9.2, we saw a lot of Vayne as is, but now we're back to the crit AD carries, we're back to hyper carry potential for players like Uzi. So if you're someone like Imp, you have to contest, and we know he loves his hyper carries.
Oh, definitely. We really have to take a look at the champions he's been playing so far. And for JD Gaming, like you were talking about, it is about the late game stability. You can give the early phases of the game to the Dumpling Brothers, but late game, they still need that insurance. And that is what Imp does provide. He's been going on the scaling picks like the Kaisa, the Sivir, and the Vayne. On the other hand, we have another star player that we want to start talking about, Puff. He's probably the most important piece towards this new Vici lineup. The first in damage share among all AD carries, doing great in the DPM department. But unlike Imp, who's the 3rd option on his team, Puff is really the first go-to. He needs to start winning in terms of the laning phase, and I really liked his performance on those utility type of marksmen. The Varus and the Ashe come to mind. He actually has the highest kill participation for any marksman.
You know what comes to mind for me, though, for Puff? At the start of the split, we saw a lot of the Xayah Rakan. When Rakan went into low priority for Southwind, he changed. He went more towards the Galio, the more meta-style supports. The bottom lane duo of Vici Gaming is the highlight, like you just mentioned. And for Vici Gaming, it has been a rough run so far. Starting out the split with new expectations, with a 5-man roster coming out of Niso. Now for Vici, relying on this bottom lane. I'm just looking at Puff stats again, and they're so good, which makes you want to hype them, but you buy in a little bit too early with this lineup.
Ooh, yeah, Vici Gaming, I believe Matt even put them into playoff contention, which probably a little bit premature. Or
It might
was
have
it
been
you?
me.
It was you?
It was definitely me.
I'm sorry,
It was me.
Nibira. It was actually Hysterics who did that. This is a team that does bring a lot of excitement. Their bot lane, like we were talking about at the start of the split, they played against SMLZ, iBoy, and then Uzi, and they actually won their lanes, which is incredible.
And you're like, how?
But then you look at the rest of the two lanes, and they actually are very inconsistent in their performance. And I think we do have to mention that Vici Gaming has actually swapped out their long-standing top laner in Chalizi, who's been leading throughout the majority of the split, and swapping ZDZ in, a new top laner. We don't really know about a lot about him, but he actually did perform very well in the laning phase with his gameplay.
Yeah, he did. Or if you're an Australian like me, ZDZ. I will have to go American for this one. I'm sorry, folks. But with this new top laner, you can see Vici trying to change something, trying to do something new. And I like that in this late into the split, formulating their best team composition in players. And that's what they need to do for summer. Because right now for Vici, you're looking at JDG, how well they're going. And are JDG just too good for Vici at the moment? There is a strong potential, and there's a strong potential that Vici, with this series, could be knocked out of playoffs.
It is definitely possible. I don't think they're absolutely knocked out if they lose this series. No. However, realistically speaking,
momentum-wise at the very least,
realistically speaking, they're 2-7 right now, and I think what they're doing is they're trying to use these remaining LPL games and at least solidify their roster going forward into 2019.
It's super hard as well because with Vici's schedule, just taking a look here, Vici have Rogue Warriors, WE, which is, arguably winnable, but then FPX and OMG. So even though OMG, yes, no, this is a topic for a little bit later, folks. There's 3 potential wins there, which means they can challenge. They do need this win here, it feels like. The way the schedule's going, the way that the 9, maybe 10 mark might secure first or even second and third. For Vici Gaming, they just don't have the stats at the moment, but they do have the hype from yours truly.
They do have the hype. They do have the hype. They actually play very well, but I think the problem with this team is that just the early laning strength really isn't there for them. I think that's the main problem, especially if you look at someone guy like Jay. He's been showing up really big on things like Syndra. He actually had a couple of good assassin games, but overall, I don't think there's a very clear identity coming from the rest of the team. They've solidified what they want from the bottom lane. Early action, get in on that strong laning phase between Southwind and Puff, really make that the marquee matchup that they want for the organization, but the rest of the pieces haven't really fell together yet, and that's, I think, the biggest test to see today. We expect Puff, honestly, to win the lane against Imp. But how does Vici snowball that? How do they take that point and make it into a win condition?
I want to see a really easy composition from Vici. That's plain and simple. With the first week when we saw them take the win against Suning in the game 1, it was the Galio, it was the, even though Galio now played support and has been done by Southwind, we saw the Galio, the Jarvan combination. And I liked how Vici was just constructing very simple, cheap compositions that Puff and Southwind could benefit off.
You really have a very kind of single-track mind. It's your bot lane's going to win your lane, let them provide the engage, and everyone follow up after that. That's kind of the mentality that we've been seeing this team going for. It's just about, okay, are the rest of the pieces, are they going to be able to stand even? And when it comes to the team fight, do they have that 5v5 on lockdown? Those are the big questions, and unfortunately for them, I think they're going up against one of the teams that are stylistically completely different. Like we were talking about, Imp is the third offensive option for the team. The Dumpling Brothers still do take that standard lighting.
That's right.
So it's a bit of a mismatch between top and bot side of the map.
Oh, exactly right. Very good point. Top side of the map for JDG was always their strong suit. Now that their bottom side is looking pretty good as well, that's for JDG what makes them more of a playoff team, more of a potential to challenge the upper echelon of play. When we have IG, TOP, and FPX, RNG even, who are playing so darn well. Not going to put EDG in for that. That's what we're leading up to later, by the way. There's so much news with that second series that I can't wait. But with this first one, the biggest news story is that the bottom lane is going to be our biggest focus. Second news story is that someone like Zoom has had a wheelhouse of champions as well. So I want to take us to the top side, Clement. Imagine you're ZDZ. You're going into Zoom, arguably the second best top laner in the region because the Shy is just so darn good at the moment, and he sits up on the crown. But, or maybe on the chair, the crown's on his head. But JDG Zoom, at the moment, of course he's going to be intimidating. Renekton, he'll play his Swain. He's got so many champions and really impresses us with each game. Almost every game.
I really want to see what Zoom actually brings out, because Zoom is the type of player that actually takes out new picks every single patch. He was one of the first ones on the Yorick, first ones on the Swain, of course, like you were mentioning.
Yep.
And in the Conquerors patch, that's kind of my question for him as well. Ooh, like what does he actually bring out in this sense? Because I feel like he has a very defined style. He does like to go for the bruisers a lot. And this time around with the Conquerors patch, I just want to tell everyone how strong Conquerors is on 9.4. We are on the hot fix Conqueror, which is 2 to 10 adaptive
Still
damage.
great though. Still absolutely fine.
And on 9.5, that was actually nerfed by 40% in max stats. So that's pretty much an apology from the balance team. It's like, sorry, we messed up.
Sorry, folks.
But we're playing in the super uber strong buff for the Conqueror's phase. And I really think if you can dominate those champions, you have yourself another strong point on the map.
I remember a lot of the pros, when I've heard them talk about Conquerors, when I've heard them discuss, why it's so good, they talk about the true damage and the healing, of course. And the healing that comes through on champions like Cassiopeia, champions that can really get in these trades and get meaty with it,
Yes, Cassiopeia is one of those that people don't really think about when they think of Conquerors, because it's mainly like an AD bruiser rune.
Oh, we've just been so used to it for so long.
But she can actually proc it very easily, and that's shown up on 9.4. Not really the case further down on the line after 9.5, but on 9.4, that's actually a thing. Cassiopeia top lane with Conquerors. Yeah,
we've seen Cassiopeia in 3 different lanes. I mean, of course she's going to be highly prioritized here in this series. If someone like Yagao picks it up, if we see it in the bottom lane from Imp. But Imp's Vayne has been popping off, so I bring you back down to where the bottom lane is. As we take a look at the full lineup here, we'll start with Vici, because their bottom lane is fantastic as well. ZDZ in the top lane instead of Chalitza. Ike's Jay, mid lane jungle, and then Puff and Southwind. They're your hope here for Vici Gaming if they can take off.
The newcomer, of course, is ZDZ. He's played the previous set, did great in lane, especially on the Gangplank and the Aurelia. Can he perform the same level against the likes of Zoom?
Against the likes of Imp and LvMao in the bottom lane. If you're AD carry of Vici Gaming, Zoom flawless. Yagao, Dumpling Brother duo, top and mid. Look at the bottom lane. Look how serious Imp is. He's happy because he knows how well he's performing with LvMao as his support.
He has a lot of things to be proud about. Coming back into form, getting that Vayne back. I really love Vayne right now. It's the teamfight potential of the champion is just so high. The cooldown actually is reduced by half during Final Hour. That was her most recent buff, and it really allows her to teamfight in the later phases of the game pretty much permanently in invisibility.
Yeah. Also, Tumble, now the empowered damage on Q hits turrets. So take the wins where you get it. Turret plating's in the meta, why not? Give us a little bit of a bonus. And as we get closer to heading in, I was kind of relaxing there. I'm so sorry. I thought we were about to, jump ship, but apparently we're not. Over in Beijing, the crowd's warming up. The players are warming up as they should be. And for JDG, have they warmed up? Do they need to warm up in this series? Absolutely. Just as important for Vici Gaming to win the series, but even more so for JDG. We talked about those top 4 spots that are up for contention still. JDG are on the outskirts between, we're going to drop to, the likes of where Suning are, or we're going to rise to the occasion where teams like FPX and TOP are.
They're around the space of 6 and 7 at this point, and that's not always a very comfortable spot to be in, because you have to start from the very bottom rung of the playoffs, and you move your way up. So what I think JDG's, their goal is really to knock BLG off at this point, because if you get in that 4th place seed, you're directly seeded into the quarterfinals. So the quarterfinals means you don't have to show your strategies as much, and that's really important for a team like JD Gaming. The way JD Gaming has basically snuffed themselves out of the previous playoff off-season runs has been they just ran out of things to do. Yagao was caught barehanded without a real champion pool in the new incoming patches, and their first try in spring as well, they had to go for Hail Mary strategies like the Blitzcrank and Jin. So really, I really see JD Gaming as one of those teams that, even though they're so good and you see a lot of their champion pools at times, they don't always have it they don't finesse it as much. They don't have it into solid team compositions where they know how to run them as much. And that's been on the coaching staff. I hope it's better with home, but so far still kind of the same thing. So JD Gaming are really looking to move into that 4th place.
At least now with Yagao, there is a wider champion pool. I think he's facilitated that well in the start of 2019. We've seen a lot of the Zoe, and if it gets banned away, you start talking Lysandra, you start talking, before it was Galio. There's a lot now that I can be happy about with Yagao, and the Dumpling Brother duo still stands strong. As we jump into our first series of Week 8 and Day 1, look at the bans. Look at how we facilitate the Vayne Clement. You see a Jarvan gone, you say to Imp, he's still going to pick that Vayne, especially with less facilitation.
I'm actually really surprised about this ban phase from Vici Gaming because they're leaving both Zoe and LeBlanc up, and either way you cut it, that's not a very good matchup for Jay versus Yagao. I would expected them to ban one of them and at least take the other, but they're leaving it wide open for Yagao, and we know how important that Zoe is on him.
Yeah, we really do. What if Vici Gaming get a first pick though? Do they deny it away? It looks like this could be the answer. Cheeky little hovers over to Imp. But yes, the Zoe first picked here for Jay.
And this is the problem I was talking about. You can first pick the Zoe, but Yagao also has a pretty mean LeBlanc on the flip side as well. So most teams, the way they do this is they actually ban the Zoe regardless of side, and they just forget about the issue. If you're doing this, then Yagao just has a wide open counter matchup in the LeBlanc to go to.
It really does. LeBlanc at the moment as well. A lot of international broadcasts talking about it doesn't have the counter matchups that it once did. That LeBlanc is right now a very good blind pick, but knowing it's going into the Zoe, the first pick, Imp Vayne instead.
Are you not entertained? Now, Vayne has higher highs in the later phases of the game, but in terms of the laning phase, still kind of weak. Still something that is very punishable by Vici Gaming's side.
Yeah.
So I want to see how Imp can hold on to this lane, and if he can, then he's definitely going to have that desired output later on.
Curious as to why we're going for the Alistar. It makes perfect sense here, however. Maybe going for the Galio instead. Right. That's also a takeaway from Southwind, knowing that maybe the bottom lane for Vici Gaming has to come next.
The most played champion for Southwind right now. Remember, bot lane action is how Vici get their game style going, so I think taking away that is very good. His second most played is actually the Tahm Kench, but honestly, Tahm Kench more of a defensive pick at that point. So I like this idea. It's going to force him onto something new.
Yeah,
maybe
Braum
not.
Instead, not the Alistar. It's been such high priority in the LPL, but it'll take a miss this game. You saw that flash of Neeko, which we have not seen the on-hit Neeko yet, Clement. Raz and you were discussing this heavily yesterday. We'll briefly go past it if we do see that hover come through again, or maybe even the lock-in from Vici.
Come on.
They do it. All right, Clement. Look at the pick rate. 1 out of 183. The only other Neeko we saw in the LPL was Chelly in the bottom lane, 9.2 full AP. Expecting the on-hit here from Vici Gaming as they see the LeBlanc locked in for JDG.
Ooh, Neeko is so sweet. On 9.4, her magic damage actually applies to towers, so she can take those down relatively quickly. And the on-hit build, really pioneered by Uzi, has been making waves in solo queue ranked for such a long time. I really want to see how he does on it.
WMax, on-hit. Who's it going into? Where's it going? We have to expect top lane here for ZDZ.
So, I have to say there is one weakness of the Neeko, however. It's that even though she can run away from things, she actually doesn't have very good range. And she struggles against compositions that do outrange her. So things like the Gangplank work very, very well into her. Things like the Vladimir make her life miserable. I really do expect Vici to throw a couple of those bans, but instead they're actually trying to target out Flawless. Interestingly enough, I think Flawless will give you a similar performance no matter what champion he's on, but leaving that much of an open space for Zoom is really worrying, especially when he's a great Gangplank and he's a great Vladimir as well.
Yeah, you see JDG even banning away top laners. Zoom going to be comfortable, maybe in similar fashion on whatever he's on, like Flawless. We'll see what gets picked up in the top side of the map for JDG, because you already have a composition that has a Galio in it. So easy rotations there in JDG to start a fight in this mid-game. Rise taken away. Maybe the thought here of either Zoom or
it's
only Zoom.
Yeah, Zoom is also a top lane Rise player, so I like the idea with this. It does take away a potential counter coming from the top side against their mid laner. However, you can see in this Vici draft that they're not really focusing on the late game team fighting potential of Neeko. Instead, they're trying to keep Jay alive in lane. We were talking about this is their biggest laning phase weakness, that he's gold differentials last in the league right now. So they really want to protect his lane, and they're taking away the double Lee combo in Lee Sin and LeBlanc and making sure there's not a counter in the top side as well.
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to kill someone, what champion do you pick in the jungle? You pick a Nocturne. Flawless has played this time and time again, and no champion really suits him like the Nocturne. We've seen some of his best games, but also some of his worst.
Yeah, I think the Nocturne actually forces Flawless to play a little bit more efficiently, where he has to farm and make use of that paranoia. It's a great pick against the Neeko. It really forces her out from range of auto attacking a lot. It's very difficult to continue to keep your DPS up. But on the meantime, it also means that LeBlanc doesn't really have that snowball potential. And I think that's a slight win for Vici.
It's also going to be another win in the jungle because seeing the Skarner matchup and how annoying it can be for a LeBlanc, locking her down before the clone passive can come out is a big one here. And there's one shoutcaster across the world who'd be cheering right now to see this Skarner yet again here in competitive play. Vici Gaming round up nicely. We'll take a look at that in a second. Let's move over onto JDG because this has been a stock standard for Zoom and this has been one of his priorities. Yorick into the top lane taking on probably going to be, wait, hang on. It's Puff on Nico. Okay, so confirming it is in the bottom lane, excuse me.
So what JD Gaming are doing essentially is that they're going with the 1-3-1 composition. Both the Vayne and the LeBlanc can play side lanes quite well. And once you have the map split, you have a double global initiation coming in from the Galio and both the Nocturne. But however, on Vici's side, they have a very strong group and pick type of composition. They have good protection from their front line in Kennen. And if someone just gets hit by the Sleepy Trouble bubble, it's Tangle Barbs, it's Impale, it's basically everything to follow up. So different strategies. I actually do like Vici's composition just a little bit more.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I actually like the group and pick potential because the plays can happen so quickly that you don't have time to actually set that 1-3-1 up.
Let me tell you one thing though. Getting caught off guard by the AD carry Nico has made me happy. Puff picking this up. This is the most confident player in Vici Gaming. Pair him with Southwind. They compete for that title, but one thing they do not compete for, and especially in game one, will be damage. Nico on hit. Do we see it, or do we see the Morellonomicon? Do we see the rather Luden's Echo first on the Nico? It's uncommon in this 9.4 patch, but in the LPL, we play off common.
Yep.
We are literally the innovators of the world in League of Legends, and that's why I'm proud to be here to see if this Nico and Puff takes off.
So just to make a mention of it, but Nico actually did start her bot lane career off with the mage builds. Like you were talking about, the Luden was one, the Morellonomicon was another, but later on, it has been mainly about the on-hit. You don't even put a single put into Blooming Burst. You actually start with the W and go into the E. You don't take a Q until you absolutely have to. You just want to buff up that attack speed and on-hit as much as possible.
Waiting for that level 6 as well, then you just auto-attack them to death. Who's going to be the late hyper carry on hit Nico or late game Vayne? Of course, you all know the answer to that one. Let's all just settle down. What I'm excited for, though, is that Vici Gaming have changed compositions once again. Vici Gaming are playing around their strong bottom lane as a potential, but also giving winning lanes elsewhere. We'll see how winning at this point as Vici and JDG jump into game one. Playoff implications in every series in the LPL as we move towards week 8 at the start of day 1 with a very important series.
Just waiting for the chance. Here we go.
Man,
I guess we're not.
He sounds so good. I can't hear him at all. He just blended in with the league music.
Want to check out if they're doing anything interesting with inherent glamour. You can actually choose to disguise yourself as one of your allied champions, and a pretty good one would actually just to force people away with the Braum. 2 Braums on the map at the same time. Which one do you actually trust?
Just diverting your attention towards the pressy attack on Nico. So for Puff confirming it will be that on-hit build. Otherwise, man, I don't know what's going on. But taking cleanse into this lane, double cleanse on 80 carries. And there's 2 on the side. No, there's 2 on each side. Mid and 80 carry. I love this. It's the new cleanse meta, ladies and gentlemen. In this game, with the amount of CC from both teams, why not?
Just not playing for lane necessarily. They're just making sure that they can get to the strong points in the game. Of course, for the Nico, she is a 2-item on-hit build. You go for the Blade of the Rune King and then the Rage Blade. It's pretty much standard on her. And she's very much an auto-attack bot. She auto-attacks very fast, but I think she's very, very difficult to play in a sense because she's not skill-based at all. Everything you do, you have to do with clicks, point and clicks. You need to move back, you need to move forward. You get a speed boost, but I think she's a very difficult AD carry to play in general. You really need to orb walk to perfection to play this champion.
Especially when you were talking about the range before, it seems like it's going to be hard, mainly towards positioning. The overheal there in lane going to pay off very greatly, but domination is the second tree with Taste of Blood and not Ravenous Hunter. Or maybe it is Ravenous Hunter. Either way, a lot of healing there in the build.
So another strong point about her is her Tangle Barbs actually sets up ganks very, very well. This crowd control duration was buffed on is actually buffed on 9.5, but it's still relevant even here at 9.4.
Yep.
If someone gets caught through the minion wave, a lot of times you can surprise someone. You walk through you walk into the brush, you come out as your support. They think, oh, it's just a ranged support, and you throw your E down, and they just get surprised by it. We actually seen it a lot. A favorite combo that Uzi actually liked to run was going up with Lux and with Blitzcrank. And if you come out of a brush as Blitzcrank, the enemy carry's first reaction is to walk behind minions. And that sets you up for a perfect Tangle Barbs.
That's very true. Good to play it in a competitive game as well. Me and I know many other people out there playing the Nico, and you disguise yourself as one of your allies, and your ally starts using abilities, and you're like, well, what is the point? What are you doing here? You know, I don't think you understand what's going on. No frustration to be had in this game from Puff. He didn't start as a disguised Nico, rather just played and moved into lane. There's a small CS advantage, but the wave's going to clear out eventually. Remembering that for Imp, this is not his first game. It's Vayne game, and it will not be his last. So expect a pretty decent laning phase to come out of him. And expect that the Vayne and the Galio should be able to hold strong.
Nico doing a lot of that bonus vantage damage with every 3 hits she does.
Yep.
So actually a very similar play pattern to the Vayne, but does lack in a bit of mobility earlier on in that pick. So you can see with the lane pushed up, it does force Ikes to be around this area just to make sure that the Nico can stay alive. Now, like we were saying, Nico, I honestly feel like she's a pretty high skill ceiling champion because it's very difficult to kite away from targets. You don't really have a lot of mobility tools, not a lot of auto attack range either. So it will need Vici to play around her.
That Tangle Barb as well, very easy to predict. So it's not like it's the hardest skill shot in the world to dodge. Puff was getting a bit of attention from Ikes in that bottom lane. He moved into the lane and then just left, actually backing away and heading towards his Raptor camp as Flawless getting some deep vision on as well. Watch for those Crystal Spires to see where Ikes can get priority, because there is one in the Dragon Pit, and that is going to be the difference between him getting to bottom lane faster than bottom lane can react.
I think we're going to have a relatively quiet game until it hits level 6. None of these lanes really have that much kill potential. I'd say the only one would be Yagao, LeBlanc versus Zoe.
Yep.
However, as you can see, both sides are bringing the cleanse, so I don't really expect much to happen. We're going to have to wait till 6 to see whose ultimate actually wins out. Will it be the Impale or will it be the Paranoia?
You know, Flawless is going to get there first. He's picked up the Scuttle Crab in the top side as well. Ikes doesn't have the push in this lane, difference being that Flawless still happy to take the 1v1 in this jungle at level 4. Pushes him off, control ward safe for now, but Ikes will make a revisit after picking up that Grop camp and maybe look somewhere mid, as both mid laners have level 6 now. Could be better there for Jay.
Pretty quiet early game, as we were talking about.
Not characteristic of the LPL, Clement.
We're not used to this.
No, it's
we're used to like 5 kills
Clement,
right now.
we might have to talk. You know, we might have to say something, or at least I might have to say something intellectually viable. Not sure how I'll go with that.
You almost sound like you don't speak of anything intellectually viable.
Well,
it's like
I don't know about the stereotype. But yesterday it was the same. You know, we have one quiet game yesterday on TMP and FPX in game 2, and you're like, well, what's going to happen now? We're not too sure. But in this game especially, it's going to ramp up. I mean, this is just going to be an explosion in a fight. It's already 6 minutes in. Farm's pretty even across the board. Apart from in that top lane, you see Zoom has already amounted to 12 CS in the advantage. Let's just make it 10. Call it is what it is. And both top laners have used teleport as well. So being stuck in the lane here is going to be beneficial for Zoom. Conqueror's paying off versus the Kleptomancy.
That's pretty common for Kennen to lose out on the push earlier on. His only wave clear is actually tied into his E, which is also his escape ability.
Yep.
So you don't really see the lane going into favor of Kennen until he gets that Proto Belt. Pretty common across the board. I really think the first move we're going to see should happen in the bot side. Vayne, a great snowball candidate, and also Nico, the kind of champion that can't really get away from the Nocturne easily.
Of course.
But as soon as I say that, top side looks a little bit isolated for Vici.
ZDZ is going to have 3 people jumping on him. Look at Flawless. Paranoia is in. The Kennen pops the slicing maelstrom. A good flash to outplay. Makes Yagao flash. DDZ forcing so many summoners out. Will he get zoomed? No, he won't. But he almost burns down Yagao. Let me tell you, this rookie top laner almost had it.
Yeah, that was a really good flash to avoid the distortion damage coming in from LeBlanc, kept himself alive for so long. And to be honest, JD Gaming got lucky that they survived throughout of that 1v3. We almost had another highlight moment. At the end of the day, though, still great in JD Gaming's favor. You can see Zoom right now, already with the 20 CS lead. He's a Yorick. He's going to start pushing down those turrets and being a demolisher.
Cleanse and Flash burn for the trade. Ultimates out of 3 as well. One is going to be less impactful than the other two. Mountain Dragon response for Vici Gaming. As Ike's, instead of going for the invade himself, he's going back to his own jungle. This means he loses blue buff in the process and hasn't read the rotation from Flawless correctly.
Not much he can do in that position. I think you have to stick towards the bot side. You know there's already a 3-man top anyway. It's about how Vici Gaming can respond. And unfortunately for them,
Hang
boy.
on. Finding doesn't land. Jay just wants a response, actually finds it. This is the trading as Zoe. You win everything, you land everything as a LeBlanc, but Zoe hits you with 1 paddle star, and you're out. It's even. What was the trade? Nothing.
The thing about these two champions is you can't really win against them. You think you have a counter matchup, but they're just so mobile and with cleanse at the same time.
And then take Time Warp Tonic as well,
happen.
you know. Inspiration Tree as a second is just so annoying to deal with. Time Warp Tonic, I said it yesterday, it is busted. It's so good. Your laning phase just feels like a breeze even when you're losing. I played Lux last night mid. I thought, let's try it with Time Warp Tonic. And what did I beat? Was it a Zoe? I think I beat a Zoe. Actually, I think I should beat a Zoe. It's Lux. Lux just said he wanted it. Thank you, Clement. You know, I needed that. I also need to see Jay. I need to see a little bit more of him. So far, it's been a pretty good Zoe game, pretty standard. It was Yagao, however, who moved to the top side, and Jay just left in lane. It's good back timing. Yagao going to find him again. There's a double chain. Jay takes a bit of damage. Remember, Zoe. So we'll see if the trade comes back once again.
Really fighting about priority now. The Paranoia's up for Flawless again, and I like what he's doing. He's just trying to target focus that top lane down.
Yep.
He knows the top side doesn't even have the flashes anymore, but this is a great move by Vici as well. They're moving their bot lane, who had priority in the previous push, just towards the top side and preventing that.
We'll see Southwind over the ward. Good place wards here from JDG though, so this is going to be Rift Herald, but contested by Flawless.
Tense situation for both of them. Let's see who can land the first crowd control. If Yagao can find a chain, it should be an easy follow-up from the Paranoia, but it's actually going to be Jay.
Yeah, Trouble Bubble does land Jay. We'll see the distortion going out. Rift Herald given over now, as I'm not sure where Puff was spotted, but he's not in the bottom lane. Imp is just having the time of his life farming. For Rift Herald, 5 people rotate across. We will see if this is worth it towards that 15-minute mark, as the Rift Herald should go down.
I think all Imp is going to get here is just 1 turret plating. The Bulwark should hold the tower up for the rest.
He might get 2.
Oh, actually, I'm wrong.
Yeah, massive minion wave.
Yeah, actually, we'll get 2.
That's 320 gold. You know what? For Rift Herald, I say worth. I say what the Rift Herald gets.
I think Rift Herald is definitely worth it for that. And to be honest, Vici Gaming don't lose that much in terms of the minion wave on the bot side either. Only the frontline minion going down. So I really like that play from Vici, and it showcases how they want to get their bot lane into the fray earlier on. That's the key win condition for Vici. Is, you know, a lot of times solo lanes aren't doing that hot. Bring your bot lane into the match.
Especially when you have a Nico who has a cutlass, has a recurve bow. It's the age of Nico. I love to see it. Yagao going to be engaged on, or maybe the other way around. Jay has to flash away. Hero's entrance does come in, but Impale ready from Ike's. Haven't seen it just yet. Flawless. No.
That was in view of the mid lane minion wave as well.
And most importantly, all of us, Clement.
Yes. I typically think in terms of what it affects the match, and if you blow like a perfect timing, just make sure the enemy team doesn't see it. But unfortunately for Flawless, I'm pretty sure that's noted. He will have a target on his back.
I'm pretty sure it is as well, Clement. There's stopwatch burnt down in the mid lane for the trade. You know what? Jade blue double summoner, but I'm starting to think that's okay now.
Yeah, that's definitely okay. Well played on his side, and does stop a lot of the snowballing there. Flawless trying to get Yagao just a little bit ahead, but unable to find the pick.
Well, almost. Yagao ahead in his own right, though, about 15 CS up over Jay. And even though Yagao has roamed a couple of times, Jay making the play over to the Rift Herald. JDG seeing that they're not going to get it anyways, so the farm game continues, and that first blood to add. JDG ahead by 1,000 gold. 13 minutes in the game, still waiting for this Rift Herald while turret plating is up. This is what we've harped on about in the LPL time and time again. You see pings going down in the mid lane. It's finally getting placed down with 1 minute left of that extra gold.
And this is very advantageous for Vici Gaming. Not a lot of ultimates left on JD Gaming to really deny this push. No paranoia, no hero's entrance. Should be a fairly straightforward siege.
Went to Jay and Puff. That's a very good split for Vici, but have they overcommitted towards the turret? They've left a lot of distance, so of course the answer, you know it for yourself. JDG might get picked off here. Really good spell shield from Flawless. He saw that one coming. Jay almost getting the damage with a paddle star, but after the quick paddling and after ZDZ coming to the mid lane, forced the flash away. Interesting pathing for the top laner. Vici start the dragon.
And I think they actually need
wow.
to back up. Whoa,
the Impale. Where's the cleanse from him? He doesn't use it, and he goes down. Puff picks up the kill. LvMao right in the middle too. And Vici Gaming have got 2 free picks, and it's on to the ADC Nico.
Ooh, just with the speed of the play, they were able to dodge it out. I'm not even sure the cleanse does. I don't think cleanse deals with suppression anymore.
Oh,
so
it doesn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So you know, if Imp wanted to play
That's
that,
fair.
he really needed to flash away from that. A great catch on Vici Gaming to start that off. I was actually very hesitant for a while. I felt like that was a situation where JD Gaming could have outplayed because they already have the main engage tool away from Kennen. He doesn't have flash. He's not going to be able to use that Maelstrom very easily.
Yeah.
But Vici turned it around. Great pick.
I'm living in 2017. Old cleanse, baby. But Imp getting caught out here. Very good flash from Ike.
Ooh, gets hit by the double skill shot as well. And unfortunately for LvMao, he tries to save the day and goes in 1v4. Not the right choice.
Almost takes down Southwind. But what you take out of that play is the Nico has Blade of the Ruined King now. Puff in a very good position with this 80 carry Nico. The first one that is on hit in the LPL. And it took a couple of match days to find it, but I'm glad from the innovator in Puff and the leading hero of Vici Gaming that it's here.
And once Nico's fed, you really need the burst damage to take her down instantly. She has great kiting potential with the extra move speed she gets on Shapeshifter. Every 3 auto attacks, she gets that burst of move speed. She can kite backwards. So it's really about JD Gaming and Yagao and Flawless trying to shut this Nico down at this point. I don't think the rest of the members can have access to the Nico, especially someone like the Yorick. I was actually a little surprised that they went for the Yorick instead. I understand that they're trying to play 1-3-1 strategy, but something like the Vladimir or something like the Gameplank would have a lot easier time to deal with the Puff.
The Puff.
Yeah, the Puff.
Yeah, hell yeah. The Puff has 2 kills over Imp, and although it's still a late game Vayne you're hoping for out of JDG, you're not going to see that for a little while, but you are going to see how Puff fares in this mid-game. Infernal coming up as well with already double Elemental on Vici Gaming.
This is
Securing
such a
control around the backside. This paranoia right on top. When I see it, a chicken into the mix as well. Jay might be caught out. The burn
Yes, to go
isn't
back.
enough. The troll bubbles in though. Jay's still alive. A 4-man taunt though, and now Pop Blossom doesn't hit. He uses it too late, and Vici Gaming caught in the middle with Slicing Maelstrom now joining the fight. Puff still free hitting. 80 carry Nico. Just looks so good. I want to play this at home. It's gonna go down too. Puff has 4 kills. Zoom chasing up with Yagao. Southwind blocks out a lot of the damage, but look at Puff. Still alive, gets the concussive blows down. They lose another member. It's Yagao for the clean house, but Puff is still going. The maidens get off my lawn as Ike almost gets bursted down, but Puff looking for the 1v2. Presses W, goes back in. Oh, you cheeky chameleon. I see JDG finding that fight comment, but I still see Puff alive.
Oh, Nico alert, Nico alert. We've got a fed one here on the Rift.
Holy
that was
moly.
so well played. JD Gaming, they used the majority of their engage tools onto the Zoe, trying to catch her out, but Nico gets the clean house on the back end of that fight. You can see the initial start to this, great cleanse to keep himself still safe in the situation, gets away from the fear, and then survives with the portal jump for such a long time. And just look at Nico in this fight. You can't really go next to her. The Pop Blossom comes out, keeps herself alive for a long time, and they just don't have the target selection to really deal with Puff. This is what I was talking about. If you want to take down a Nico, you cannot give her time to kite. She's great in these types of situations
So quick.
where there isn't enough burst damage or enough range to force her out of the situation, and a perfect teamfight scenario for her.
Yagao picked up kills there, though, and Zoom did as well. Dumpling Brothers are online here, Clement. So although, yes, I was very excited to see Puff, who almost has a Quintus Rage Blade at 17 minutes in the game. I take a look over at Zoom and Yagao. I see the Trinity Force, the Luden's Echo completed. This is more stopping power for the, I was about to say Camille, for the Chameleon in Puff, who Pop Blossom is now level 2, and remembering press the attack and overkill, it's going to be the challenge of the maybe 1 versus 2.
Yeah, definitely. She's going to have a good time against several targets. The Galio and the Yorick should be fine for her, but what's really troubling is that Yagao and that Nocturne that can just fly onto you regardless of your position.
That's right.
So I want to see how Vici are able to keep her alive through these team fights. I think ZDZ is going to be a crucial member. Hard CC, a great answer to someone like the LeBlanc. LeBlanc has to do most of her damage through that distortion, and if you can dissuade her from coming in, then that gives Nico so much room.
Also on that note as well, remember that with the E from Nico, with the lockdown wedge, the thorns, Clement.
The Tingle Barbs.
Man, I've just always banned Nico in solo queue. Nico, Ezreal, and what's the other one? Yasuo at the moment? Oh, Zed. Oh, Zed in solo queue is disgusting.
Nico on 9.4 still doesn't have the best win rate. On 9.5, I know she's absolutely crazy because of the crowd
I mean, Clement, this 9.4, she looks bonkers here.
I think it was well played.
Yeah.
I think it was very well played by Puff. By Puff, sorry, not Puff.
Hang on.
Here we go.
Let's see if it happens again, though. Pop Blossom's still available. They've gone for the 80 carry this time. Pop Blossom is down. Hits 3. Puff's already taken down Vayne. Still free hitting. Zoom and Yagao on the front line, and they've got Ike. Puff is deleted. That's all you need for JDG. They win this fight from here on because Jay does not have the resources. Chain will force the flash. 3 members down from Vici Gaming, and ZDZ can't join in with the Slicing Maelstrom. He's level 11, but it makes no difference. JDG 1 for 3, and now the Infernal's theirs.
Really good call by JD Gaming. They forced the issue. Kennen didn't have teleport, didn't even use his Maelstrom to try and defend Nico. Was really not in place, and this is the type of fight JD Gaming love to pull. They're like that Fright Train. They thrive on chaos, and if you give them the opening for the 5v4, they'll take it.
Fall's been starting a lot of these as well. We'll see how he gets into the front line again.
Yep, he starts the fear onto Puff. Puff actually does evade that. Puff's Pop Blossom instantly kills him, so it actually did not get any damage down on that fight, but it doesn't matter. All of the bruisers are already on Nico's face. Nico already used the Shapeshifter, can't get away. Dead meat after that. And that's what I was talking about. Nico, I really do rate her as a very difficult AD carry to play. Doesn't really have that self-peel you need, so the team has to play around her.
It was a very good ultimate from Puff, but unfortunately getting dropped down in the middle of that fight meant it was over simultaneously after that. Jay, as I was mentioning in that fight, just doesn't have the items to contest and maybe go for that Zoe individual pick-off that you could have seen in front of the Infernal Dragon. But now, more issues arise. Sterix Gauge on Zoom. Yagao has his second item almost, with the Fiendish Codex in the works. So you look at this team, and again, even though we're focusing on him, he hasn't had the best game. He's been focused away. Yes, Zoom, that was a naughty take. Was that the maiden that took it?
That was the maiden.
Oh, man.
And Yagao's like, I thought I was your girlfriend. Guess not.
At least the Suns didn't take it, but be a bit of greedy. Zoom found ZDZ as well. After getting the blue buff, you expect him to just harass, poke out, continue to do his thing. While the top lane from Vici keeps pushing in, and LvMao and Imp can't defend in this 2v2. In fact, look at the on-hit. Oh, Imp takes one auto attack. Ike's is coming in, slowing him down. Look at it again. The flash forward. The Glacial Fish is down. The Galio is just taking too much here. And LvMao bursts it down again. 6-1-1. Puff having the time of his life.
Really good find by Southwind. Tags him with the Winter's Bite and forces the entire team to back off at that point.
Yeah.
And we just saw the amount of damage that this on-hit Nico can actually deal to towers. Remember that 3-hit proc? It actually does work against towers.
Yeah.
So she can take objectives very easily. That's something that most on-hit AD carries can't do well, but Nico does feel that niche.
There's trouble on the landing there as well, so Puff taking this down very, very quickly. More gold in the back pocket. Bounty back on Puff's head again. This will be the trade-off. Remember, it's the Dumpling Brothers versus Puff. And right now, with the rest of Vici Gaming following him, JDG know they have the numbers advantage. Mid lane turret threatened, and this just might go down as well.
No real response from ZDZ, and this is the issue that we were talking about for their composition. Once Zoom gets ahead, he can pretty much shrug off the damage coming in from Kennen. It doesn't really bother him at all.
Yep.
He's already quite fed. So JD Gaming, once they have most of their lanes past the river, they can start with this 1-3-1 strategy. They can group and try to force fights with Flawless.
They really want the main. That means that Vici really want to start the fight as well. Southwind, what is he doing? Very deep. Has to burn the flash. Clement, you talking previously before there about, you know, this is what we're expecting to see as Yagao gets zoned off by the invincible sleeping trouble bomb, and the mid lane turret goes down as well. Yagao coming in to burst down Southwind further. I want to take a step back because at the start of this game in Champs, like, they're even setting up the story here. We mentioned how Puff and Southwind were the core of this team, and Vici Gaming were kind of, I guess, the liability, to put it in harsh terms. In this game, it's exactly that.
Well, you can't really change players within a single day or even a single week. But who's actually going to get this Baron? A perfect teleporting position from Zoom, actually. He should get a very good jump.
Which way are Vici Gaming going? Zoom going to get turned on here by Puff. Might actually be ulted on as well. Remember, Paranoia is available. Dodging away. That's a really good lens, but they've jumped on him anyway. Puff goes gold. Here comes the Pop Blossom down again. Has to flash away, but he's still leaded by Yagao. Slicing Maelstrom on 3. Now can the rest of Vici Gaming do anything? Well, Jay has actually found his spike. Takes down the Galio, but Yagao and Zoom are way too big. Double kill there for Jay, but Vici Gaming have lost their jungler too. Big moments here for the Dumpling Brothers as they stand tall, and it's Jay left to pick up the corpses.
Everyone was excited for Imp, but I have to say, JD Gaming, at the end of the day, Dumpling Brothers is what their marquee matchup actually is. That was the perfect bruiser mosh pit that they were waiting for. Neither of those AD carries could do a lot in these fights. We could see a really good pickoff at the start of it coming in from the Zoe on Jay. Actually doesn't allow Imp to find those crucial targets. Tangle Barbs worked perfectly there as well, but on the flip side, we also saw the Nico being taken out by Yagao. So once AD carries are out of the position, you're left with a fed Zoom and Yagao running around, very short cooldowns on the LeBlanc, perfect bruiser mosh pit. That's the key words we want to look for JD Gaming.
It looks so close. At least these fights are going down to the wire, and for Vici Gaming, that's a good thing. Their Kennen comes online. Their Kennen is now doing a lot in these fights if he gets in early. But judging by the Colonel's attitude here in this game number 1, he's saying that JDG have got the right attitude. And that is that JDG have themselves the momentum and they're playing with it around Flawless Paranoia and now around the stuff with Fertile.
Yeah, and it really hasn't been the fact that Vici Gaming has been playing these fights poorly. It's just the fact that in this type of a team composition, they actually want to play more front to back and disengage away from the front line of JD Gaming. They haven't really been able to do that in these team fights. They've killed Imp, the first member, the main damage dealer, in every one of these team fights, and it really hasn't proven to amount to much, actually.
It really hasn't. And you were talking about Zoom and how Zoom would have trouble getting in. Well, now with almost 3 items, I think because Zoom has such a lead. He walks in, he has no trouble. His wife will be up again soon. Unfortunately, she had to, I don't know what you want to call that. She went away and she never came back. It's unfortunate for Zoom.
Okay,
it's a quick divorce, Clement, but she's going to sign the papers once it comes back up in that cooldown. Probable land, unfortunately. A little bit sad for Zoom, but turret still goes down. Vici, take it, back away.
The way JD Gaming really want to fight these fights is if they can get some purchase into the backline access. I felt Zoom had a picture-perfect teleport in the previous Baron fight to really give the win over. I don't think JD Gaming can really contest when it's just front to front. And I like Vici's call here. They have an on-hit Nico. They have double mountains.
No.
So how about you just force the issue again? You know there's not going to be a teleport this time.
I was worried there because that ward went unspotted after 3 bits of clearance came through. But eventually they do find it. So if we are talking about that Baron heavily, Clement here, I want to point out that you have a LeBlanc who almost has 3 items. Yorick now picked up Randuin's Omen. There's a GA on Flawless, so he's going to be diving in every single time, like he was before anyway.
Oh god, how did Yagao get 506 again? I don't remember the laning phase being that good for him.
it was pretty even. Jay held him thin, but Flawless has done quite a lot this game, and focusing up to around the top side of the map. If Zoom gets ahead, you got to know that Yagao's going to be ahead. They work in tandem here, Clement.
This is a little bit unfortunate for the Nico, because she was thinking, okay, the main one that's going to be dealing damage to me is actually going to be Flawless on the Nocturne. I can't stop him from paranoia me, so I'm just going to build into the Ninja's tabbies.
Yeah.
Well, right now, you really need some magic resistance to survive this. It's a very terrifying proposition to go up against Yagao at this point. I honestly feel like he could one-shot Puff.
I'm curious as to what gets built next then, because if we're sitting on the magic resist factor, then we know Hex Drink is available. Mercurial Scimitar might be ideal, even with that cleanse in hand. We see a lot of AD carries when they're forced under the pressure of multiple CC. Not only do they pick up the cleanse in lane, but then they pick themselves up the Mercurial Scimitar. In this fight, he will not have it. Baron getting started by JDG. This is blind. The maiden's back up. The wife has brought home a present, and it's a big purple worm. Take that as you'd like. I realize where that just went, but Baron's going to drop down, and JDG sneak it from right under the thumb of Vici Gaming.
Oh, and Imp with the white flag waving already, just doing some psychological warfare on the rookies on this part. That should really boil the blood. That should really boil the blood. Good acting from Imp. You played his part. You played your part perfectly in that one.
Yeah.
And it's a really good call because, honestly, like JD Gaming didn't have a lot of map control throughout this entire game. So Vici Gaming thought, well, you know, they're probably not going to go for it right now. But it was a good timing on the Infernal, noticing the double Infernal and just how fed Zoom actually is in this matchup.
How annoying is this composition with Baron? 1-3-1 in full effect, the global ultimates still pressuring those side lanes. And look at the vision. The fact that Vici Gaming have no idea where JDG's Nocturne, Galio are after it pushes in the mid lane. They've now just got to play it super safe and super reserved.
Yeah, and this is the point where the catch composition from Vici actually does kind of fall apart. All three lanes are already across river if they want to catch someone.
LeBlanc! Still
Never
better
mind.
than Zoe, apparently. Yagao, the redemption's coming down. He might survive with the Slaughter out. Happy Penguin, happy life. There's Paranoia in the top lane as well. The 2v1 on the turret. Look at Flawless. Doesn't care if he tanks it. He's happy too. GA will not be popped. And even finding the turret there, everything coming up JDG with a 5k gold lead, double Infernal, ready to fight some more.
I didn't talk about that because I didn't expect Yagao to go in 1v4, but wait a minute, there's still more. Zoom's
Hang
caught
on,
here.
Puff picked up Renan's in the last fight. He's free hitting two people. Zoom underneath turret. He's been slowed down enough. Doesn't take the last one. LvMao has to get out. Nico, let's go. JDG, run for the hills. Yagao still hitting in that bot lane turret, but they defend the top lane, so maybe you'll take what you will there from Vici Gaming.
So close from Puff right there. He almost got all three targets in that play, but oh, Yagao just with the fancy feet. That's the scary thing about the 1-3-1 is even if you try to catch one side of the map, you have to give something on the other side. Once 1-3-1 gets across rivers on all three lanes, then they are 100% guaranteed to get something off the back of it.
Yep.
And Yagao really spearheaded that play. That was a 1v4 situation where he said, you know what? I'm actually going to beat the catch. I'm going to go in and take one of them down before they even reach me.
It's so sad for Vici Gaming though, Clement. And you know, this whole game, I saw the Nico, I got excited. It's much more than that. In these fights, in these picks, in these small moments, Vici Gaming are coming close.
Yes.
Each and every fight it has been close. And that is the progression of this developmental squad, because they still are developmental. ZDZ, you bring in a new top laner, you're trying out something new, you've still got 4 rookies on the side. Puff and Southwind are playing out of their mind. But unfortunately, it's just not enough here when you go up against JDG and the rest of their team are covering for them. It's not Imp playing well, but rather the top side of the map beating down on the bottom.
Unfortunately, we wanted to see an Imp versus Puff matchup, and didn't really need to happen.
Best
for
of
JD
3,
Gaming
Clement.
anyways.
Best of 3, man. It's not over yet.
This is a warm-up. This is a warm-up.
Oh, yeah.
He's already shown the Vayne. You need to give him one game. The guy's an old-timer. He needs some time.
Old-timer. I think he's only like 20, Clement. He's only like 21.
I forget how young these players
Imp is... No, he might be 23, I think. Either way, Imp is still young. If 23 is old, I'm going to be very upset. Yagao, even more so. Upset by the damage he's outputting. Look at Zoom in the bottom lane. Demands the attention of 2, 3 Vici Gaming members, while JD just walk on in. They're playing Tootsies.
And there's no real threat for Yagao to do that. Like, he has the Banshee's Veil. You're not going to pop that as a Nico. You need to land 2 skills at the same time to prevent Yagao from doing that.
Oh, the flash from Ike's. The distortion away. Yagao didn't have to do anything. He got condemned by Imp as well. Look at where Flawless is. Can you end this game in one fight from JDG? The answer definitely yes. Imp walking forward. Remember, a lot up here for Vici Gaming to defend. The game could go longer. Inhibitor going to go down. JDG don't want to take their chances. That's 2 out of 3.
That was one morning miss from Zoom, and look at how much damage it did to Puff. Puff, remember, he actually has a lot of lifesteal in this build. Oh, sorry, actually going to go for the IE. But not
yeah.
Yeah, this is the real AD carry we're looking for, going for full damage rather than trying to keep himself as safe as possible.
And Clement, you know what I've learned in China since being here? IE means cleaner, or at least that's what you told me. That's who helped clean my house the other day.
No, not really cleaner.
What is it?
It means auntie.
Okay.
Yes, but it's a more respectful
All right.
way.
Okay, in that case, no, it doesn't matter. But I see from Puff, I see 4 items. I see the way to clean this fight with an Infinity Edge. And I see a possibility. I'm still here on the Nico. I don't care. 6k gold lead for JDG. They've picked up 1 Baron, another coming up in a minute. Both teams have picked up that neutral objective. But the thing we're edging towards is the Elder Drake, which in these fights could secure it. Baron buff minions coming in might not mean too much due to Puff, but still for Vici Gaming, it could be the closer despite that Elder.
I love the decisiveness from Puff. He's got a lot of cahoons to play this way. He's not going to go for another item that can take him out of the like a magic resist item. He's just going to go full IE and try to out-damage the incoming divers from JD Gaming. That's a real tough way to play. I think the key is actually how well is ZDZ going to protect him. We saw in the previous few fights that Kennen actually was not in position to really protect the Nico the full way.
Yep.
This time around, how are they actually going to get a good 5v5 front-to-back fight when their base is wide open? I think that's the big question we have to ask for Vici.
Yeah, we haven't seen a true 5v5 started by Vici. Always been a response from JDG, always been flawless going in, and Vici Gaming being proactive to respond. Trying to start something off here. Yagao running. Benny Hill, he's back. Ike's has pulled him in. There's the cleanse. And you can't find yourself the barbed wire in Puff.
Yep, just a small clarification. That was the Quicksilver Sash.
Yep. Cleanse still up and available there for the mid lane, and then JDG, the fight begins again. Hero's entrance flash is burnt already. Look out for Puff and Jay on the back. Yagao tries to get in, not enough damage. Southwind might be out, but Redemption keeps him healthy. Yagao still on the side, trying to burst out. Infamous already found ZDZ. Again, Yagao in once again. The slow down. Puff Blossom. Kaboom! Puff finds one. The second goes down, but Yagao treats him dirty and sends him down too. Yagao waiting to jump on over. It's Jay and Southwind as the teleport comes out. Zoom's just going to look to end the game. And what a fashionable game one it was. Zoom to clean house here while Yagao keeps them busy. The Dumpling Brothers heading towards playoffs. It begins with game 1. For security reasons, Vici Gaming under pressure.
Ooh, what a tough fight for JD Gaming to actually overcome. Puff really did his work in that game, and at the very last team fight, I was really rooting for him. I was rooting for him the entire way. It was a great choice to go for the Infinity Edge, but in that choke point, you really can't walk up. The Galio still with flash up made it impossible for the Nico to do your full damage. And I think at the end of the day, we really do see the strengths of Nico as a pick, but we also see the compositional requirements from it.
I still see it if I'm JDG. Look at that, 25k damage. He still did the most. And although Zoom and Yagao was styling on those fights with, Flawless has to be respected there as well. Don't worry about the damage. He did what he needed to do.
He was just a guided missile and made sure that Galio was in range of Jay, of Puff the entire fight. But at the end of the day, even though Puff, the bot lane of Vici, it performed the way we wanted them to, I still don't think the other lanes really had much of an impact on this game, and that's been the problem we've been seeing from Vici. They want a front-to-back team fight, they want to catch, they really need both the Zoe or the Skarner to be the ones facilitating
Even the Kennen as well. ZDZ was in with those ultimates a couple of moments late into those fights, and the big fights that made a difference, you could see what Puff was doing. Small skirmishes earlier on, and Puff had a fantastic time. I see it from JDG's perspective, and I go, game 2, it doesn't matter what happened in that game, ban the Nico. Pick it up, ban it away, because that pick, man, that is good.
You know what? I would actually save the Nico. I'm actually on a different view. I think
so good.
I look at game 1 and I say, you know what? Puff played about as well as he possibly could. And we could still manhandle him quite easily. It was not that close, to be honest, in those team fights. So if I'm JD Gaming, I'm saying, you know what, our Bruiser comp actually works. It's fine. Let's give him the Nico. Let's keep him on something that doesn't actually have that early game impact. We're not talking about a Varus or an Ashe that can catch you out. We're talking about a Nico that needs to scale 2 items, and then she's basically an auto attack bot. So I'm actually okay with Puff being on.
Okay, in terms of champion pool, there was a difference to begin with anyway. That game cemented it between Imp and Puff. Imp on the Vayne had no impact that game whatsoever. Decent laning phase, close. But no, but that was fair.
Yeah, that was true. That's true. That was
Imp
definitely
was tumbling and rolling and unfortunately tripping.
He died both times in the 2-team fights.
It's hard because you're versing a Nico. You're like, oh, it's AP. You know it's on him, but you know what I mean. You're like, okay. Oh, that's a bit of damage. Oh, that's a lot of damage. What's happening here? So, Imp, you called him an old man. You know, like
he needs to warm up. His best game the last time around with that Vayne game, 11 kill game, that was game 2 as well.
Ah, yes.
So we still have better things ahead of us.
So game 1 is to roll us through it. Game 2 is to just get us towards that Vayne game. Expected to see that out of Imp in game 1. Hopefully in game 2, interesting 80 carries from both sides. That'll continue right here on the LPL.
控制自己，掌控敌人。
这一波仅剩 Puff 一人，有点难守，兵线已经续上了，5个大残血在面前，而且听一波给。
职责所在。
火焰闪现回血体 ，Puff 再劫难逃。
你今天不会取得胜利的。
这把比赛打得实在是太好了。
执子之魂，
与子共生。
又是一条小龙 ，Yuki 的冰刷已经交掉了，上面的2个上单扭打在高地卡前，
但是老婆没了。
老婆被打掉了，一会儿大招先刮一下，先拿这个球推得很不错，康体这边血量已经下到1/3，两边3都没有将 TP 的打断，龙被拿掉 ，Yuki 进场定住3个人。
上吧，饿狼！
狩猎又开始了。
滑板 R 进来 ，LE 拉板，但您的大招放的也太好了吧！滑板这波又飞进去死掉了，残局的处理上，奥拉夫这边劈掉了1人之后，赶紧往上溜。
下一个是谁？
是所有人。本能引领着我的脚步。
这豹女会不会等会儿来一镖啊？
神奇一镖，触发福能回身，
正在觅食。
第4血
，2，
有点来了。
不管是用爪还是用矛，你的结局都是一样的。
来了！我的天哪！心态崩了，彻底没了。
这真的没了。
战斗之心，至死方休。
这一波奥拉夫
两边中单
还有惩戒，
王子也在附近，
吃不进去，怎么办？
要出事儿了！
德玛西亚！
先杀一个奥拉夫，队友们溜了吧。死高在这边碰到孔明，孔明没闪现的，
但是皇子这边有7级啊，这你不敢造次吧？
王子也没大了。现在这一波的话，以奥拉夫的死亡告终。
灾难始终慢我一步。我感应到又一枚符文了。走，马上。我们走，我们走。符文在召唤，这就对了。我已经参透了符文，我感到力量的涌动。刀光剑，能奈我何？
但牺牲掉的是远古龙的血量，远古龙血量下到3400血，非常危机，一触即发的状态，远古龙再度回血啦！这时候又来一个 TP， 应该是 AJ 的 TP 将会到场，而另
你输了。
TP 将会到场，而另一边369还在复活中，马上 TP 到场，但另一边卡莎前面秒了，这波远古龙怎么戳？正面的战场上面，卡莎的冲锋脚被打了下来，但另一边熊熊已经拿到远古巨龙，而另一边369到场， 了，直接绕后 ，UZI 倒了。
啥？你想看魔术？一切化为乌有，不过一瞬之间。
这一波剩下的应该是蓝色方的一个追剿战了。那既然拿下了远古巨龙，后续的战斗他们就没有不赢的道理。
以意志之名，现在才是开始。